Hello, welcome back. You will notice that this is another version of my breath video, my breathing video. And you've probably noticed a change of language compared to my previous video and sometimes the way I speak to you, my clients. So I'm re-recording and I'll tell you why. Language matters to me, and the impact of language on my work and my clients really matters to me. So I had a conversation with my colleague Phil Simha, a breath therapist, about this, and I learned something important about the language around how we define and call our approach to the breath and breathing. And I checked in with Mark Davis on this and Pradesh. I checked in with some really good therapists on this. The term breath work contains the word work, and that matters more than I initially realized. When we hear work, when you hear work, minds automatically associate it with effort, with doing, with something we have to achieve. And that's exactly the opposite of what we're trying to create here in this work. Your breath isn't something you need to work at. It's not another task on your to-do list. It's a reset. It's a way to come back to yourself, to restore calm, to soften into your natural state. So, from now on, I'm using the term breath reset in my work instead. And this isn't just semantics. Language shapes our experience. And when you think of your breath as a reset rather than work, you're already shifting into a more receptive, restorative, and more pleasant parasympathetic state. So thank you, Phil and Mark and everybody that spoke to me about this. Thank you for allowing me to be so open to this reframe. Now you, my clients, my folks, my friends, let's explore what breath reset can do for you. So, we're going to explore something that you already have within you, something incredibly powerful that you carry with you every single moment of every day, your breath. If this is your first time experiencing breath reset, you're in exactly the right place. And I want to be clear from the start. What I'm going to share with you today isn't New Age theory or pseudoscience. I don't do woo-woo. You know this. This is evidence-based practice backed by peer-reviewed research from institutions like Stanford, UCLA, and Harvard. And there's lots of other institutions who are doing this research, but these ones are the ones who've really formalized it in our zeitgeist. By the end of this video, you'll understand how your breath can help you regulate stress, manage emotions, build resilience, feel more balanced in your everyday life, and you'll know exactly why it works. So let's dive in. I love this. The autonomic nervous system. Okay, really important to know what this is. I want to explain what's happening inside your body right now. Because when you understand this, everything else will make sense. You have something called the autonomic nervous system, your ANS. Think of it as your body's automatic control system. It's running your heartbeat, your digestion, and yes, your breathing, all without having to think about it. It's vitally important. Now, this system has two branches, and they work like a seesaw, the children's playground apparatus, up, down. The first is your sympathetic nervous system, your SNS. This is your accelerator. It increases, it moves at speed. This is fight or flight. When this system is activated, your body thinks there's something it needs to respond to. Your heart rate goes up. Your breathing gets faster and shallower. Your muscles tense, and stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline start pumping through your system. Now, this is also good, okay? It's brilliant when you actually need it. When there's real danger or when you need to perform. But here's the problem. As humans, in our modern world, this system can get switched on by traffic, work emails, difficult conversations, parenting, just the general pressure of daily life. And then, on the other side of the seesaw, you have the parasympathetic nervous system, your PNS. This is the brake. This is rest and digest, rest and repair. When this system is activated, your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, your muscles relax, and your body can actually heal and restore itself. Here's the incredible part. Your breath is the key that can unlock the door between these two systems. Your breath is the only part of your autonomic nervous system that you can consciously control. And when you change your breath, you change your state. When you're stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, you're in a sympathetic state. And your breath can bring you back. It can bring you back and activates the parasympathetic response. And it can tell your nervous system, we're safe, it's okay, we can relax. Now, I would like to share with you a technique that I learned that's very important for me, called the physiological sigh. I think it's a very powerful tool to use in breath reset. And before you think this is some new age woo-woo, okay? Let me be clear. This is evidence-based neuroscience. Not every breath practitioner likes it or uses it, or every therapist. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and you can choose. The physiological sigh was first identified by researchers in the 1930s. Fast forward to 2023, and we have a pretty good study published in Cell Reports Medicine, and that's a pretty good peer-reviewed medical journal from Stanford University. The lead researcher, Dr. Melis Yilmaz Balban, I really hope I've pronounced that correctly, is a Harvard-trained neuroscientist, and the study involves over 100 participants during 28 days in a randomised controlled trial. So there's science here, folks. And what did they find? The physiological sigh was more effective at reducing stress and improving mood than any other breathing technique they tested, including box breathing and even mindfulness meditation. So Linda, what's the science? Why does it work? Well, when you're stressed or you've been breathing shallowly, tiny air sacs in your lungs called alveoli can partially collapse. Your body has a built-in mechanism to re-inflate them. It's that spontaneous double inhale you do sometimes, usually followed by a long exhale. You might notice you do this naturally when you've been crying. In English we call it hegging. And when you're finally calming down after being upset. Children do it, babies do it. That is your body's natural reset button. And the physiological sigh works because that double inhale re-inflates those collapsed alveoli and gets more oxygen into your system. The long extended exhale directly activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your brake. It immediately brings down your heart rate and respiratory rate, not just during the exercise, but throughout your day if you keep practicing it. In the Stanford study, participants who practiced this for just 5 minutes a day showed measurable improvements: lower anxiety, better mood, slower breathing rates, and improved heart rate variability. These aren't subjective feelings, my friends. These are physiological changes that you can measure, and that they did measure. It is the fastest way to calm your nervous system. One breath, and a tiny little one. That's it. This isn't guesswork. This is neuroscience, and it works. Maybe I could show you. So, there is a way to do this. Let me describe it first and then show it to you. You're going to take 2 inhales through your nose, one longer, kind of maybe deeper breath in, and then at the top, a second little sip of air to really fill those lungs. And then a long, slow out exhale through your mouth. So let's do it together. Beautiful. I can just feel it already. Now that's my way of doing it. If you're a breath therapist, you may recommend some other tweaks to what I've just done, but that's what I do. That's what works for me. You practice, my friends, how that works for you. The physiological sigh. One breath, a tiny little other one. And you've just reset your nervous system. Then, what I often like to bring into my breath reset is the just one breath practice. And this was heavily influenced by a wonderful Buddhist meditation teacher called Sharon Salzberg. When I was learning mindfulness meditation with her, I learned her repeated mantra of just one breath. So this is about noticing how you breathe and where you breathe from. I've adapted it slightly for my own practice. Most of us, especially when we're stressed, breathe up in here, in our chest and our shoulders, okay? And watch what happens. Now that's slightly exaggerated. So Linda, imagine you're stressed about something. Think about something stressful. That's what it might look like. And to be honest with you, it doesn't feel fantastic either. My shoulders, did you notice them lifting? That's sympathetic breathing. And it wasn't just my shoulders. My belly did something too, my stomach. The stress breathing, you're actually signaling to your body something is wrong. So watch this, okay? When I put my hand on my belly, when I breathe, I want to feel my belly expanding first, not my shoulders, my belly, your belly. This is diaphragmatic breathing. This is how babies breathe. This is how you breathed before stress, and life taught you to breathe up here in your chest. And you may notice when I go into my lovely relaxed breath, I naturally close my eyes. It's the association that I have with release, calm. So let's try it. Place one hand on your belly, okay, either hand. Breathe in through your nose And feel your belly push your hand out. And exhale, feeling your belly soften back in. Strong back, soft belly. So the belly rises on the inhale and the belly falls on the exhale, and the shoulders stay relaxed. Your back might just also move into a more elegant, stronger posture. And that's it. Just one breath, done with awareness and done with intention. So, lovely practices, Linda. You're probably thinking, how do I use this? When do I actually use this? The beautiful thing about breath reset is that you don't need to sit aside on a cushion in lotus position. You don't need a yoga mat or a meditation cushion or anything, or an hour to do it. No, you can do that if you want to. But most of us don't have that time, and it's not always practical. You can practice your breath anywhere, anytime. Just keep your eyes open, okay? Especially if you're driving. I only do it when I'm sitting here. If I'm driving and I'm in traffic and I need my breath, my eyes are open. So you can apply your breath mindfully in moments of your everyday life. The moment when the stress hits, when you get that challenging email and feel your chest tighten. Before you fire off a response, stop. Take one physiological sigh, reset. You'll respond in a calmer, clearer place. Now, you may be in a public workplace and too self-conscious to do a physiological sigh. That's okay. If you can head to the bathroom or outside, do that. And if you can't, just one breath. You may need it before that presentation or difficult conversation when you're feeling anxious or nervous. Maybe take 3 physiological sighs. You're not trying to eliminate the feeling, okay? We're just bringing you back to center so you can show up as your best self. And again, if you're in a space where you can't practice the physiological sigh with confidence and discretion, just one breath at a time. What about when you feel anger or strong emotion arising? Maybe someone said something that triggered you, or you're about to reply to a message and you can feel that heat rising. Pause. Breathe. Maybe 1 or 2 physiological sighs, or a few just one breaths. Give yourself that space between stimulus and response. Because when you're in a sympathetic state, you're not thinking clearly, okay? You're in the amygdala. You're not in the prefrontal. You're reacting. And when you breathe, you bring yourself back online to your prefrontal cortex. It's the response, not the react. It allows you to show up as your best self. When you're stuck in traffic or any moment of daily frustration, instead of gripping the steering wheel tighter or shouting at someone, use the breath as a cue, okay, to get into parasympathetic, eyes open. Maybe a physiological sigh, maybe just one breath. And it's not just to use in the moment, okay? There's also a really important timing aspect to using this. Between 3 and 4 a.m., your body naturally starts producing cortisol and adrenaline. This is called the cortisol awakening response, and it's a well-documented physiological process. This is your body's way of preparing you to wake up, to have the energy you need to start your day. But here's what research shows happens when you're under chronic stress. those cortisol and adrenaline levels can be way too high. So instead of waking up feeling energized and ready, you wake up already in a sympathetic state. You're starting your day with your accelerator already pressed down. Your nervous system is already in fight or flight mode before your feet even hit the floor. That's why morning breath reset, very important. Take a few simple breaths when you first wake up, and that can completely change your day. Before you pick up your phone, and you know I've got thoughts on the when of that, before you start thinking about your to-do list, just breathe. Give yourself permission to just breathe. 3 to 5 slow belly breaths. Reset your nervous system and start your day from a calm, centered place. And you can use it in micro moments throughout your day. And actually, this is my favorite practice. You don't need a formal practice. Breathe mindfully when you're making your morning coffee or tea. Notice the aroma. Take a slow inhale. Sip mindfully with a slow exhale. When you're in your shower or your bath, this is a beautiful opportunity. Feel the warmth of the skin as the water flows over it, the warm water on your skin. Notice maybe the scent of your soap, your shower gel or oils. Breathe consciously, really breathe it in. Breathe as you comb your hair. Breathe as you mindfully apply maybe your makeup or get dressed. And here's something fascinating. There's a powerful connection between your senses and your breath. When you engage your senses, when you're present with what you're seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, and you pair that with conscious breathing, you're doing something quite profound for your nervous system. Your sensory experiences, combined with slow, intentional breathing, help promote the release of serotonin. That's one of your body's natural feel-good chemicals. It's likely impacting some dopamine as well. This isn't just about relaxation. This is about your actual brain chemistry. And when you breathe consciously during pleasurable sensory moments, you're literally supporting your mental and physical health. So anytime you have a sensory experience that feels good, pair it with breath, the smell of fresh coffee, the warmth of water, the softness of a blanket, the taste of your food, the hug, the touch of somebody, that feeling of fresh air as you walk outside, the sun, okay, the smell of a flower. Breathe. Let these moments become cues to breathe with the sensory experience. Breathe when you're waiting for your computer to start up. Breathe when you're washing your hands. Breathe before you walk into your house at the end of the day, going cleaner. These are little moments, micro resets, maximum impact, and they add up, okay? So build a practice, folks. If you want to have a dedicated breath reset practice, that's beautiful. It can be micro moments, or you can add in something like 5 minutes a day that can transform your nervous system over time. But maybe start with 10 seconds, move to 20 seconds, get to 30. Eventually you'll be at a minute. After weeks or months, you may be at 5, it may be sooner. You might even get to 10. Kaizen it, start small incremental breath work. And there's an important thing I really want you to understand. Practice your breath when you're feeling good, not just when you're stressed, not just when you're overwhelmed, but when you're calm, when you're relaxed, and when things are okay. Why, Linda? There's a logic here, okay? Because you're building a relationship. You're training your nervous system to recognize this state. You're building a positive association in your body and mind so that when you do need your breath, when the pressure comes, when the stress hits, when anxiety creeps in, your body already knows what to do in a positively associated state. You've trained it, you've practiced it, and now it's there for you. Your breath is always with you. It's the most reliable tool that you will ever have. So, quick recap. You have an autonomic nervous system with an accelerator and a brake, and your breath is what controls them. The physiological sigh, backed by peer-reviewed research from Stanford, your fastest reset tool. One conscious belly breath can shift your entire state. You can practice anywhere, in the morning, during micro moments, or in a dedicated practice. And when you practice when you're feeling good, you build the capacity to use your breath when you need it most. And you can add to these practices that I've mentioned. There is a wonderful practice of breathing in to the count of 4 and breathing out to the count of 6. It's a stress reset breath. This isn't mysticism, folks. This is neuroscience. I don't do woo-woo. These are tools that have been studied, measured, and proven to work. And now they're yours to use, if you choose to. At the end of this video, I may remember to include some recorded exercises for you to practice on. I may not. I could possibly forget. But if you're my client, just contact me and I will send them to you. Use them, explore them, and remember, this is your tool. You get to decide how and when you use it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to learn about your breath reset. Thank you for working on your growth mindset. Now go breathe. You've got this. And as always, look after yourself.